the last few days, Pat McAfee has not walked back any comments when he's actually been very direct about how he's felt. And a couple days ago, to give you guys context here, Pat McAfee went on a show and said that he felt there was a lot of support from ESPN, except one specific person that was trying to sabotage them. And if I'm not mistaken, Rock, the person he was referring to is one of the high executives of ESPN.
You want to play the clip?
Yeah, we'll play the clip. This is the clip from today of Pat McAfee talking about his comments from the days prior.
Here in Houston, Texas, at the national championship. ESPN has set us up pretty good here.
Oh, yeah, they have.
Now, there are some comments about one particular person at ESPN.
Sure.
You know, that I made only on the YouTube ESPN Plus show. That wasn't even on linear TV.
What was that?
I didn't know anybody was going to hear it because it was just on digital.
And no one does digital.
I guess everybody did hear it. It was a topic of discussion, obviously, the entire weekend.
Sure.
And the only thing that I'm like super bummed out about it all is that a guy that we like a lot, a man that watched the game with us in the suite, Burke Magnus, who is currently new guy in charge at ESPN, right below Jimmy Pitaro. I guess he was kind of made to look bad because of what I did and how I did it. I would like to let everybody know we love Burke Magnus.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Love Burke Magnus.
Love you, Burke.
And also love Jimmy Pitaro.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Love Bob Iger.
What?
But there is quite a transition era here, you know, between the old and the new. New. And the old don't like what the new be do. You know what I mean? So there is certainly going to be a couple of that, but we're very thankful. A lot of people are saying I'm trying to get fired. No way.
Whoa.
What ESPN has been able to do for us, more specifically, whenever they do things like this, you have no idea about the crew behind the scenes here that we've been working with basically all year. Not only on game day, but for our show, whenever we're traveling, we got nothing but love for all of these people. Now, there's certainly people we do not like. Certainly.
Naturally.
And they do not like us. That's how it's going to be. And I don't take back anything that I said about said person. But the overall storyline about us and ESPN, I think people need to remember, we're strong, baby.
Bingo. Hot and cold.
We are strong, baby.
Damn
And
right.
we all understand what the future looks like. There's just some old hags that potentially don't. But we will move forward to that. Speaking of the future.
All right. So I think this whole situation, if you guys didn't catch the entire context from what happened on Friday, he basically talked about how Norby, it's a weird name anyway,
Williamson.
Norby Williamson, who's one of the executives at ESPN.
Yeah, but who names their kid Norby, or who nicknames themselves Norby? I don't. But anyways, regardless.
Yeah, back to the context.
He's ripping this guy.
Goodness.
I'm just saying, and you look at the guy, he looks like a Norby, to be honest with you. But you look at, so he basically was looking at the linear television numbers and not including the ESPN Plus, not including YouTube numbers. And the Pat McAfee show is bringing in collectively 500,000 viewers per episode, per day. And that is pretty much in line with what they're doing with First Take. First Take has a little bit more, I think 600,000-700,000, whatever. But it's insane numbers what Pat McAfee is actually bringing to ESPN. So I see a couple people talking about how, you know, Pat McAfee better watch what he says. I think he's almost too big to fail. He'd have to do something egregious to get let go from ESPN at this point because of the amount of eyeballs and exposure he's bringing to ESPN and what it's also doing for his brand. And honestly, I love it. It's paving the way for guys like us, Ryan, and giving us a shot at really making a name for ourselves so that we can put it to the big guy, so to speak. It's no longer going to be the big three media that we have to compete with. We just compete with ourselves. And that is what is so awesome. And to see that what Pat McAfee's been able to do up to this point has been truly amazing. It's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, I think his evaluation when he was describing it before, I mean, I think what he's saying is in the hundreds of millions is the Pat McAfee show of what the value of that brand is now. And so
it's a $500 million.
Right. And if you look at what they've done on YouTube alone, they have over 2.5 million subscribers, almost 2 billion views. This has been tremendous for what Pat McAfee and his group has created. And when you get so large in this case, people are going to want the successful thing. And Pat McAfee has become so successful. You're right, Brad. It's going to take something catastrophic. I mean, we didn't even touch on what happened with Aaron Rodgers, by the way, that whole debacle and shit. And then Aaron Rodgers said, stay tuned tomorrow for him to come on and talk. And you, whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, it's irrelevant to the point. It's specifically saying that Pat beats to his own drum. And he believes that he wants to run it the way that he does. And whether people like it or not, he's going to be himself. But he does have a lot of people that love what they do. And in this case, I think the biggest ballsy thing is, can you imagine telling one of your bosses, yeah, I don't like you. I know you don't like me, but what are you going to do about it? Like, that's essentially what Pat's saying. And he goes,
no, not even that. Imagine saying that to one of your bosses on camera in front of 500,000 people.
By name.
Yeah, by name. It's not even just saying to your boss that you don't like him.
One of my bosses is trying to sabotage me. You're naming him. Like,
yeah.
You're calling him by his first and last name and letting everyone know who it is. Right.
Probably knowing he's insecure about being named Norby.
which Brad has pointed out.
As this is probably the reaction he wanted from people like Brad, who would immediately be like, also, Norby, that's a dumb name.
Wasn't there I know I'm wrong already, but was that movie Norbit? Not Norby, but
Norbit
was
Norbit. Norbit's hilarious. It might not have gotten the ratings that everyone expected it to get, but it was so fun. I'm saying what have you seen Norbit, or are you too young?
No.
Well, you should go watch Norbit. It's hilarious.
I'll add it to my homework.
There's a lot. You haven't seen a ton of movies. I mean, I think I did realize that you have seen Dumb and Dumber, which at least is good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Tell me there's a chance.
It's so funny, man.
But for Pat McaFee, also, if you look what he's transformed in College Game Day, he has brought that ruggedness and that authenticity to a mainstream network, and it's blossomed but also in the process, the brand has grown. And that's something kind of that we want to eventually, be able to do, is continue to grow, see where it goes, and be able to try to be a part of the next generation. Because whether people are like it or not, this is where media is going. Media is going to more digital, easier access. And also, who do you want to get your information and who do you find entertaining? Doesn't have to be me. Could be Rocco, but might not when he's got his head down and hat down. Could be Zach, depending. Okay.